Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to Physics C1 class. In lesson 1, we have completed the chapter Physical Quantities, Units and Measurement. So the objective of the second lesson is by the end of the lesson, students will be able to attempt questions based on Cambridge pattern. In this lesson, in this lecture, we're going to discuss the questions taken from last 8 past paper. First question is that which word is the name of a scalar quantity? Keep this in mind. Scalar quantity is described by only magnitude. Vectors are described by both magnitude and direction. So C is the correct answer. Mass is the scalar quantity. All the rest they are vector quantities. Second question, what is the size of the resultant of two forces as shown in the diagram? Over here we can complete the triangle, and this third side will be hypotenuse. We have to find the value of the resultant which is equivalent to hypotenuse. So we can use our Pythagoras theorem because it is a 90-degree angle triangle. So according to the Pythagoras theorem, square of hypotenuse is equivalent to sum of the square of perpendicular and the base. Square of perpendicular becomes 9. Square of 3 is 9. Square of 4 is 16. 9 plus 16 is 25, and in order to calculate hypotenuse we need to calculate under root. So under root of 25 is 5. Correct answer is C. Next, before discussing the next question, keep this in mind. Calipers, they can measure length above 2 centimeter, and micrometer cannot measure length below 2 centimeter. Meter rule can measure maximum length 1 meter or 100 centimeter. It can't be used to measure length greater than 1 meter. So measuring tapes, they are used to measure length greater than 1 meter. So in this question, measurements are taken to find the volume of copper in the pipe. So in order to calculate the volume, we need the value of this diameter plus the length. So length is mentioned, it is several meters long. So tape will be taken, and in order to measure the external diameter, caliper will be taken because micrometer measure length less than 2 centimeter. It cannot be used to measure this length. So correct answer is D. And micrometer is also used to measure the diameter of thin wires. It is also used to measure the thickness of sheets. It is used to measure smaller lengths less than 2 centimeters. Next question. What is the correct unit for the quantity shown? Over here, the correct unit is joule, which is the unit of latent heat. The rest, they are all incorrect because unit of electromotive force is voltage. Volt, it is voltage and its unit is volt. Unit of pressure is Pascal or Newton per meter square. Weight is a force and its unit is Newton. So correct option is B. Next question, which word is the name of the vector quantity? So B is the correct answer. Displacement. All the rest, density, energy, speed, they are scalar. Which quantities are both vectors? Correct option is D. Velocity, acceleration, they are both vector quantities. Next question, which reading is given to 1/10 of millimeter? 1/10 of millimeter is equal to 0.1 millimeter. All the options are given in centimeters, so we need to convert 0.1 millimeter to centimeter, so it becomes 0.01 centimeter. That is, the answer should be up to 2 decimal places. So B is the correct option because over here the answer is up to 1 decimal place. In these two, the answer is up to 3 decimal places. So B is the correct answer. Next question, what is the correct order of the size from the largest to smallest? Over here, prefixes are given. Small m is milli and it is equal to 10 to power minus 3. Capital M is mega, it is 10 to power 6. Again, mega 10 to power 6. Small k is kilo, it is 10 to power 3. So we have to start with the largest value. Largest value is B and C. From B and C, we have to select which one is ending at the smallest value. Over here is kilo, over here is milli. Milli is the smallest because it is equal to 10 power minus 3. It is a submultiple. So C is the correct answer. Next question. Over here we have to find the resultant R of these two forces. This diagram shows head to tail rule method. According to the head to tail rule method, the second vector is drawn at the head of the first. So how to get the resultant? The tail of the first is joined with the head of the second. So the correct option is C. Next is a small cylinder is rolled along a ruler and completes two revolutions. The circumference is the distance round the outside of a circle. What is the circumference of the cylinder? Over here we have to see what is the length from here till here. Over here it is 10.2, over here it is 1.4, and then that length will be multiplied by 2 because two revolutions are being completed and we have to find circumference which is equal to one revolution. So since the distance of two revolutions is given, so it will be divided by 2. 10.2 minus 11.4 becomes 8.8. 8.8 divided by 2 becomes 4.4. A is the correct answer. Which diagram show the addition of 4 and 3 Newton forces? So we have to see which one is showing the head to tail rule method. A is showing the correct method. The second vector should be drawn at the head of the first, and the tail should be joining from the resultant should be joining from the tail of the first vector to the head of second. So A is the correct option. Next question. A student wishes to measure directly the circumference of the football. Which is the most suitable instrument to use? Keep this in mind. Measuring tape is made up of flexible material. It can be bent. So measuring tape is used to measure circumference of a football. Next question. Forces of 4 Newton and 2 Newton act at a point. Which scale diagram shows the forces that have a resultant of 4 Newton? Over here, the magnitude of resultant force is given is 4. So what we have to see? We have to see if the length of which resultant vector is equivalent to the length of this 4 Newton, because it is also mentioned that the value resultant is 4. So we're going to use a scale to measure the length of this line. Suppose if it is 3 centimeter, then we have to draw the resultant in all these three diagrams. Resultant is drawn from the starting point towards the opposite corner, and we're going to measure the length. So if it is also 3, that then it is a correct option, otherwise no. So A is the correct, because in this case um, the length of the resultant is equivalent to the length of this line. Next question is, which is a vector quantity? Over here, weight is a force, it is a vector quantity. Next, what is the name of the value of the unit of power written as small m w? Small m is milli, w is watt, and milli is equal to 10 power minus 3. So C is the correct answer. Next question. Micrometer, meter rule tapes, calipers are used for measuring length. Which row identify the most suitable device for accurately measuring the stated length? Over here, lengths are stated. A is the correct answer because micrometer gives the reading in millimeter. The rest they are incorrect. Next question. A micrometer is used to measure the diameter of a uniform wire. What is done to obtain an accurate answer? So to obtain an accurate answer, we have to see which one is showing the correct method. The correct method is we have to see the readings from the scale, and then we have to either add or subtract the zero error. So D is the correct option. The rest A, B, C, they are incorrect. Next question. Which instruments are used to measure accurately each of these dimensions? We have thickness, we have width, we have length. Thickness is the smallest length mentioned over here. So micrometer will be used to measure this. After that, we have width. Caliper can be used to measure this, and then the length. The length will be measured by a tape, so or a meter rule. So we have to see which option will be correct. From here we can see length, meter rule can be used. Thickness, micrometer, right? Width, caliper. A is the correct option. Next question. A car's acceleration and maximum speed are improved by using an engine of smaller mass and greater driving force. How many of the underlying quantities are vectors? So over here, acceleration, force, they are vector quantities. Speed and mass are scalars. So two quantities are vector quantities. Correct answer is B. Next, a student determines the circumference of a golf ball. Which instrument gives the reading that is the circumference of the golf ball? Again, measuring tape, because it can be bent and it can be used to measure the circumference of the ball. Next is, again we have to find the resultant force. These two boats, they are pulling a single ship. Each is applying the same force but at an angle 20 degree. One is applying force at an angle 20 degree above this horizontal line, and other is applying force at an angle of 20 degree below this horizontal line. We have to find the resultant, and for the first step is we have to choose the scale, and then we can find the resultant either by head to tail rule method or parallelogram method. So scale chosen is 10 kilonewtons equivalent to 1 centimeter. So 49 kilonewton will be equivalent to 4.9 centimeter. How we have obtained this value? 49 is divided by 10 and the answer is 4.9. Then this shows the parallelogram method. According to the parallelogram method, the two forces will be drawn such that two vectors will be drawn such that their tails coincide, they are joining each other. So this is the starting point, and then this parallelogram will be made. We have to draw this horizontal line first to mark an angle of 20 degree above this line and 20 degree below, and length of these two lines should be 4.9, and then we have to complete the parallelogram. And how to get the resultant? The starting point is joined with the opposite corner, and then the magnitude of the resultant force is 9.2 centimeter. Length of this line will be measured and it will be 9.2 centimeter. We have to give the magnitude in kilonewton. Over here, centimeter is equivalent to 10 kilonewton. So in the next step, centimeter will be replaced by 10 kilonewton. 9.2 multiplied by 10 kilonewton become 92 kilonewton. This is the head to tail rule method, which is the second method. According to this, the second vector will be drawn at the head of the first. And how to get the resultant? Resultant will be obtained by joining the tail of the first to the head of second. So first we need to draw this force at an angle 20 degree above this horizontal line, and then we have drawn this horizontal force to mark an angle 20 degree below this horizontal line in order to draw the second force. Next question is, this is the diagram shown. Which value of R is not possible? So if this is 3, other is 4, by using Pythagoras theorem, value of R is 5. Since the angle between them is varying, the value is not given. So the magnitude will be either 5 or greater than 5, but it cannot be less than 5. So A is the incorrect answer. A is not possible. Which value of R is not possible? A. Next is, which quantity is scalar among these? Displacement is a vector quantity, time is a scalar quantity, so the option B is the correct answer. Next question. Two forces are shown, so we have to tell which diagram show the resultant R of these two forces. So over here we can see that they have calculated the resultant force by parallelogram method. According to the parallelogram method, the tails of the two vectors should coincide. That is, the second will be drawn from here. This is the starting one, second will be drawn from here. And how to get the resultant vector? Join the starting point towards the opposite corner. So D is the correct answer. Next, which set of quantities are all vector? A is the correct answer. Acceleration, displacement, velocity, all these three are vectors. Which quantity is a vector? Again, force. B is the correct option. Next, is mass a scalar or vector and acceleration a scalar or vector? Over here we have to choose. Mass is a scalar quantity, acceleration is a vector quantity, so B is the correct answer. Mass scalar, acceleration vector. Next question. The diameter and the length of the thin wire, approximately 50 centimeter in length, are measured precisely as possible. What are the best instruments to use? So correct answer is A. For the diameter, micrometer. Micrometers, they are used to measure the diameter of thin wires, and the length mentioned is 50 centimeters. So it can be measured by using meter rule. Meter rule can measure up to maximum 100 centimeters. Next question. Which quantity is scalar quantity? So temperature C is the scalar quantity. Next question. Forces of 25 Newton and 40 Newton act on an object in the direction shown. This is the direction shown. So over here, this is the parallelogram method. In order to draw the resultant vector, we have to join the starting point towards the opposite corner. So correct direction is the B. B is the correct answer. Which device can be used to measure the thickness of single sheet of paper? Again, it is micrometer. Micrometer is used to measure very smaller lengths less than 2 centimeter. The next question is about derived units and derived quantities. There are so many derived quantities. We're going to discuss them in the coming chapters. Next question. A workman measures as accurately as possible the length and internal diameter of a straight copper pipe. The length is approximately 600 centimeter and internal diameter is approximately 2 centimeter. What is the best combination of instrument for the workman to use? Okay, so what is the correct answer? D. Internal diameters are measured by vernier caliper and the length mentioned 600 centimeter. Meter rule can measure up till 100 centimeter. So greater lengths are measured by tape. So D is the correct answer. Next, what is the reading shown in the stopwatch? Over here we can see it is 36 seconds. This is 30, this is 35, and the hand is pointing towards 36th division. So 36 is the correct answer. C. Next, each row contains a vector and a scalar. In which row is the size of the vector equivalent to the size of the scalar? The magnitude of velocity and speed can be equivalent. We're going to discuss this in the coming chapter. Next is again how to find the resultant velocity. Two velocities are given. A small boat travels with a velocity of 4 meter per second due north in an area of still water. Combining the initial velocity of the boat with the velocity of the water. Velocity of the water is 2 and it is at an angle 45 with the north, and the direction of the boat is 4 meter per second north. So use the diagram to find the size and direction of the resultant velocity. So first step, we have to write down the scale, then we have to find the resultant velocity either by parallelogram method or by head to tail rule method. So the scale chosen is 1 meter per second is equal to 1 centimeter. So 4 meter per second will be equal to 4 centimeter and 2 meter per second will be equal to 2 centimeter. This is head to tail rule method. According to the head to tail rule method, the first velocity is in the direction of north. It has been drawn. Other is at an angle 45 with the north, and second velocity, the second vector is drawn at the head of the first. How to get the resultant? By joining the tail of the first to the head of second. Then we have to give the magnitude plus the angle. Magnitude is obtained by measuring the length of this resultant velocity. It is equal to 5.6 centimeter. Since 1 meter per second is equal to 1 centimeter, therefore centimeter will be simply replaced by meter per second. So answer of the resultant velocity is 5.6 meter per second. And then we need a protractor to measure the angle made by the resultant with the north direction, and it is 15. It is in between north and east. So it is 15 degrees Celsius. This is the parallelogram method. According to parallelogram method, the tails of both the vectors should coincide. This is the starting point. So this is the length of this line should be 4 centimeter. The length of this line should be 2 centimeter. And then the parallelogram should be completed such that length of this line should be also 4. The length of this line should be 2. And how to get the resultant? Join the starting point toward the opposite corner, and then the magnitude of this resultant velocity should be mentioned, and then the direction. Next is the next question is that when there is no wind, the engines of the airship push it due north at 20 meter per second. The wind is blowing from west at 12 meter per second. From west means it is moving towards east, from west to east. So over here, this is the correct direction shown, and the direction of the engines of an airship are north at 20 meter per second. So this is the correct option. How to get the resultant? If we complete the parallelogram, the starting point is joined with the opposite corner. All the rest they are incorrect. Next is, this is the question shown. Again, we have to find the resultant force. There are two forces acting over here. One is the force of the traffic light, which is the weight. Weight always act in the downward direction, and the weight of the traffic light is 240 Newton. And other is the force acting on this horizontal chain, and it is acting towards right. weight is acting downward and vertically downward, and the force along the chain is acting towards right. So the magnitude of tension is 140 Newton, magnitude of the weight is 240 Newton. So we can find the resultant force by using either parallelogram method or by using head to tail rule method. First, we need to select the scale. 50 newtons equal to 1 centimeter, then 140 newton will be equal to 2.8 centimeter. How we obtain this value? 140 was divided by 50 and that is equal to 2.8 centimeter. 240 newtons equal to 4.8 centimeter. How we have obtained 4.8 centimeter? Actually, 240 has been divided by 50, so that is equal to 4.8 centimeter. So we can find the resultant either by parallelogram method or head to tail rule method. According to the parallelogram method, these two forces should be such that their tails they are coinciding, right? So one we have a force, that is the weight acting in the downward direction, other is the tension acting in the horizontal direction, and the parallelogram is completed. How to get the resultant vector? Starting point is joined with the opposite corner. How to find the resultant vector in case of head to tail rule method? First we need to draw the weight, and its value is 140 newton, and it is equivalent to its value is 240 newton, and it is equivalent to 4.8 centimeters. So it is drawn in the downward direction. The second force is drawn from the head of the first. And how to get the resultant? The tail of the first is joined with the head of the second. Now, in order to get the resultant, the magnitude of the resultant, we need to measure the length of this line. It is 5.6 centimeter. So we have to give the answer in Newton. Centimeter is equal to 50 Newton. So 5.6 in the next step will be multiplied by 50 Newton and the answer becomes 280 Newton. Next question is, if a 3 Newton and 4 Newton force act as shown in the diagram, which diagram show the resultant R of these two forces? So over here we can see that the tails are joined. So this is which method is being used? Parallelogram method. How to get the resultant? Join the starting point towards the opposite corner. So correct answer is A. All the other options they are incorrect. A micrometer is used to measure the diameter of uniform wire. What is done to obtain an accurate answer? Find the reading and add or subtract the zero error. Okay, this is correct. All the other are incorrect. Next is, velocity is given by the change in displacement divided by change in time. How many vector quantities appear in this statement? There are three physical quantities given: velocity, displacement, and time. Among these, velocity and displacement both are vector quantities. So two quantities are given. So correct option is, that is C, 2. Next is, the diagram shows three forces acting on a block. Which additional force will produce a resultant of 3 Newton to the left? So it is mentioned that resultant force 3 Newton is acting towards the left. It means that over here the magnitude of the forces acting towards the left should be greater than the force acting towards the right. This is the case of addition of forces when the forces are parallel to each other. Over here, they are acting parallel to each other, but one force is acting in opposite direction. So if we take 3 over here, so over here is 3, then 3 plus 3 becomes 6, 6 plus 2 become 8. Over here the sum of the force should be greater than 11, so that when we subtract them we get an answer 3, and then in that case resultant force will be shown towards the greater force. So the sum over here should be greater than 11. So with using 3, 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 become 8, so it is still smaller than 11. Next is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9, 9 plus 2, 11. So if it is 11, so 11 minus 11 becomes 0. So that is incorrect because we need an answer 3 Newton. Next is 9 Newton. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. 14 is greater than 11. So 14 can be taken. 14 minus 11 give 3 answer. So C is the correct option. Next is again addition of vector over here. A parachutist of total weight 950 falls 950 Newton falls vertically at a constant velocity of 6.5 meter per second. At a certain height, the winds start to blow and the parachutist move horizontally at a velocity of 4.5 meter per second as he continues to fall. Use the graphical method to add together the horizontal and vertical velocities and to find the size of the resultant velocity. So we have to find the resultant velocity either by parallelogram method or head to tail rule method. So the scale chosen is shown. 1 meter per second is equal to 1 centimeter, 4.5 meter per second will be 4.5 centimeter, 6.5 meter per second will be equivalent to 6.5 centimeter. So according to the given question, one is the force, one is the velocity acting vertically downward, and that is 950 force, and it is moving with velocity 6.5. So this is the direction vertically downward. Other direction is horizontal. This direction is horizontal. So this is 6.5 in the downward direction. Other is horizontal direction. This is parallelogram method. According to the parallelogram method, from the starting point, we will join till the opposite corner to get the resultant velocity over here. So we are going to measure the length of this line by the scale to get the magnitude. It is 8 centimeters. So since we have assumed that 1 meter per second is equal to 1 centimeter, so centimeter will be replaced by meter per second. Magnitude of the resultant is 8. This is the head to tail rule method or tip to tail rule method. According to that, the second vector, which is 4.5 in the direction of horizontal, so this is the vertical direction, so the second will be drawn at the head of the first. And how to get the resultant? By joining the tail of the first to the head of the second, joining the tail of the first to the head of the second. Again the magnitude will be 8 centimeter.